Hey, everybody, welcome to episode 7 of the Death Ratio Show. It is Tuesday, March 26th. I am your host today, Devin Stanford, aka Brevin the Dude, and I am joined by my wonderful little cherry blossom, Garrick Bartholomew Eakin. How are you doing?
Is today over yet? Are we done?
Almost. It's
Dude,
almost
you just
over.
gotta get through this podcast.
Yeah,
I love that
there.
we transitioned away from calling him Garrick Bartholomew Eaton because he doesn't eat before the podcast anymore. Or like
Yeah.
he's not actively
after.
snacking anymore, so we've gone to Eakin.
Dude, yeah, I really don't be fucking snacking anymore.
don't be
I've lost
eating,
I've lost a lot of weight as a result.
Yeah, I feel like I snack more than you now, but I don't snack as much as you did.
Yes,
That's
I
fair.
would say,
That's fair.
yeah, I would say,
the storm.
dude, yeah, I was definitely, dude. Even like, I still have like some of like my my sour like candies and stuff from fucking Christmas, dude. Like, I didn't finish it all.
Dude, I went through mine. I got a huge snack box for my birthday, like in February, and that shit was gone within 2 weeks. Like all of them. They were all just gone. But, you know, I do think it is funny that we still say Bartholomew, even though that was completely a joke one day, and that's not your middle name at all, but we still say it.
Nope.
Nope, absolutely.
It
not.
is his middle name.
Just
No, I actually,
actually it is.
what
You're
I
right.
actually really love, like genuinely, like I've actually just fully adopted like Garrick B. Eaton. Even on social media, that's actually my name now. So we can just continue to use that. And I really like it actually because it is just different enough that it's differentiated my Google searches of me.
Yeah.
Really?
Nice.
There you go.
You know,
Really?
there you go.
The acronym of that GBE sounds like some chemical corporate company from a zombie game.
Okay, but
Yeah, the GBE is here to
but also
Yeah,
when,
GBE.
with the antidote.
when I Google Garrick B. Eaton, someone named Garrick Beaton.
Garrick be beaten.
No.
Garrick Beaton, bro. That's crazy, dude.
But
You know what's Yeah.
the best thing is, or the thing that I love most about it, anyways, is so like the only like if you type in my name on in the Google search bar, a lot of stuff will come up. You'll get like my Facebook, my YouTube, but
Mhm.
my Twitter doesn't, which is the one I don't want people looking at
There you
as far
go.
as employers are concerned.
Yes,
Perfect.
absolutely. Unless you are an employer in the games industry, then like maybe we
Yeah,
can.
by all means, look away. But like, I work in an industry currently where they have a habit of being like, you represent the industry you work for outside of your work hours, and so as a result, adopting the name Garrick B. Eaton has been to my benefit.
Well, Garrick Beaton, it's good to have you on, man. It's good to have you on, dude.
Yep.
No, no.
Speaking of having things that we're worried about corporations seeing on social media, we are also joined today by the Shark Daddy himself, Ernell Pearson, aka Ocean Shrine. How's it going there, bud?
Oh, just the sworn enemy of the games industry, apparently.
Yeah, does that officially mean we're problematic?
Yes.
Dude, I feel like
Yes.
there's more problematic podcasts.
I mean, listen, like they said we cussed a lot. They didn't say that we say terrible things. So
That's true.
And that's
you just said we're potty mouth. That's a very different.
Deny it. Look, they
different
can do,
accusation.
it's their,
Hey,
they can
hey,
do however they want about that. You know what I
Do you
mean?
think that's why
And that's
Gary
fine.
Whitta isn't on Kind of Funny as much?
No, it's just because he's a
Anymore.
busy guy. He's just a busy guy.
Yeah, no, he is.
Yeah, man. I didn't even say
Because
anything.
I was
the past
thinking
15
about
days.
it.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it more so, and I was like, man, every time Gary Whitta is on a Kind of Funny episode, doesn't matter what show it is, he's like, fuck this, fuck that, fuck you, fuck everybody. He's
Mhm.
like, you're all a bunch of fucking crybabies, and I'm like, oh, they can get away with it.
Yeah. See, the main core rule is as long as we don't cuss for the first 30 seconds, is usually where we're good. That's where we're good. Unfortunately, I have a habit of getting like real hype, like in our starting soon time window, and I'm like, oh, let's go, dude. I love making content, and I come in with a "What's up, titty fuckers" or like some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And then it's all downhill.
It's
from
really
there.
mostly you, Ernell. Actually, like you're the one who says the most
You
out of
know,
pocket.
I mean,
shit.
yeah.
The frequency of it,
I just
you
swear.
own that frequency.
Like I just say
Like-
fuck a lot.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
just say
Yeah, man.
all of us. You know, like I'll throw the occasional like suck my cock and balls and taint and rim. You know, every so
Oh, that's
often.
not true.
Go on.
I definitely have absolutely blurted. I just shitted and pissed and cummed into the camera full
Yeah,
volume.
see,
Yeah.
so like
Yeah.
not the
I am
frequency-
problematic.
All of us are a little problematic, I think. But or no, you own the
In
top
different ways.
frequency. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, 100%.
And like it
Because
trickles
I mean,
down
like,
to
listen,
the rest
man.
of us.
I mean, like, if you're down to clown, like that's
Trickle down problematics.
I mean,
It's trickle down problematic. I don't know what you guys, you know. I actually
trickle
studied
down
this in
problematics.
my
you
Management
know,
300 class.
It's definitely Ernell than me.
I don't
100%.
know
know.
because you're just argumentative. I feel like that like the next
Yeah, no, like Devin just argues.
I call
his point.
people out. I call people out and tell them all
and,
facts.
and adults would call that argumentative. I would say next in line for like unhinged shit is actually DJ, because some of the
Yeah,
shit
no,
he
I
says
actually
that's
say
unhinged is like extra unhinged. Like this
The
man
thing is,
in
though,
a
is it just-
live
he plays it so smooth most of the time.
this man in a live reaction to a Ubisoft presentation said, "I hate French accents."
Look, look, you can't. That should make me laugh so hard. I'm not gonna lie, because it was such a. It's a terrible bit.
about to cry.
It's a terrible bit. Knowing that I have the Eiffel Tower right behind me. That's like that is the only. That's what made it really funny.
Yeah, man.
you live in-
yeah.
Look, you could
I'm in
just appreciate
Louisiana.
the architecture.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I just hate the language.
Uh,
Make cool shit.
speaking of
But,
which, though,
you know.
Devin, go on. Be a host. Just do the
Goddamn.
host thing.
We're also joined today by the
We're not.
Tekken fanatic, the one with the
Okay.
hands, the one who's unhinged but smooth, Twitch's very own DJ Synfix.
Oh
you doing?
yeah. What
Good.
up, man? I'm doing good, dude. I'm tired.
Mhm.
I'm like so close to like just finishing out this week of like just work. And then like I'll have like a grace period where like I'll have things to do, but I won't be doing anything. You know what I mean? Like
Yes,
because like
I understand. I understand completely, DJ. I'm
Yeah,
working myself towards that right now.
yeah. So like, well, because you're working towards spring break. For me, I'm working just to like, because like, I already had my spring break, and like when I got back, I literally got bombarded with assignments. Like
I'm trying to
absolutely,
avoid that.
Yeah, he did.
like yeah, and so you know, I like literally, all the deadlines have either been for last week or this week. So I'm trying to finish everything, like as it's like being due. So then I'll have the weekend to like just chill a little bit, and then I can like recoup and actually get back into workflow, because then like or regular workflow. Because right now I'm just like drowning in shit, but like I'm slowly working my way through. Just a lot of written assignments that I'm not fucking happy about.
It's yawn talk,
yeah.
dog. This
I
man's
feel ya.
tired, dude.
It's
Yeah.
been really weird. I feel like I've been on the longest spring break of my life, which is like the complete opposite the how my life was like a month
Yeah,
and a
dude, you
half
were
ago.
super busy.
Like I like working all the time,
jobs.
always
Mhm.
at venues,
8 jobs.
like
yeah.
like still being on this as much as possible, like
Yeah,
all
12
the time,
jobs.
like and working on all my other shit. But it's been really nice because finally I'm getting back in the flow of realizing what I want to do. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I've
Mhm.
been present here more, like way more, which has been really nice.
Proud, yeah.
Yeah.
Proud input.
You know, I
Oh,
wasn't saying it,
stop.
but I'm glad you did. Thank you.
No.
I'm very
you, dog.
proud
I
of
got
you
dog.
right now.
I got you, dog. Yeah.
I'm very proud of you.
Playing,
Thank you.
On,
man.
on you being present with that.
Yeah, man, of course. Yeah. I got you, dog.
But guys, some
Yeah.
things I'm really excited about what we're doing today. Guys, augmentations are here. We're finally dancing in the sky. And do we really need more? Because there is much, much more. This is Good Kraken's Death Ratio, and we're slashing through the podcast space to be your source for all the nerdy video game news, reviews, and discussions that you want to hear live each and every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific time and 10 p.m. East Coast time. If you want to get ahead of the curve, you can head on over to our Discord channel where you can submit questions and topics to the show, get exclusive content, and have early access to episodes before they go live on podcast and video services, wherever you like to watch or listen. But if you've spent all your credits at another shop, that is totally fine. You can watch us record the show live right here at twitch.tv/Good Kraken Show, just like Ex Machina Ghost is and Swamp Witchery. If you have Amazon Prime, you also have Twitch Prime, and we would love for you to give that to us to help us level up our game. But you can also support us by going to our YouTube channel, clicking that beautiful bell and big red button, or by subscribing to our podcast channel by searching Death Ratio and leaving a review there. DJ,
What up? What up?
we got some critical hits, some critical hits
Ding, ding, ding.
coming. Guys, again, we're going to
Ding,
remind you,
bing,
all of our podcasts are separate channels now. All of them. I'm going to keep telling you guys this. We're going to beat it into your brains. We're going to beat it into your ears. We're going to beat it into your eyes.
Garrick beating this until you understand what the facts are.
Yeah. Or DJ's going to come at you with them hands. You know what I'm saying? He's going to show you what
Yeah, you're going to get Garrick beaten up. Fuck, DJ.
That's crazy.
All right, you're reaching now. Anyways, guys,
Okay.
make sure you go follow 20,000 Films Under the Sea. Make sure you follow Death Ratio if you're watching this on YouTube. Make sure you go follow the Shipwreck Show, and you can always catch our Splash Damage episodes on our YouTube page too. With that being said, guys, speaking of all those shows, we have merch coming.
That's
We
right.
sat down yesterday, Ernell, Xander, and I. And they went over some designs, and I sat in and gave a little bit of input, and we talked about some cool things that are coming for you guys. This is all going to be revealed soon. We will have
Very
some
soon.
announcements for you guys, and
Very soon.
we are so ready to show this off to you guys. Just wait. And let me tell you, we will be showing it to you in one way or another. With that being said, the Shipwreck Show episode 112 is on all major podcast platforms and our YouTube page. Make sure you give that a watch. Make sure you give it a listen. Let us know what your favorite breakfast meal is and how it is the breakfast burrito.
You. Not you, actually. I like
Nobody's
breakfast
favorite fucking thing is breakfast burrito except for you, Devin.
Agreed.
That I disagree with that. There are memes about the breakfast burrito being the holy grail. of breakfast.
Unless it's that like Jack in the Box like country breakfast burrito, and you take it home and you put it through the air fryer. That shit's unreal, dog.
no, the breakfast burritos that are always the best burritos are your local.
Here we go.
Cantina, like your little like hole in the wall ma and pa, like they wrap it up in that yellow paper and put it in tinfoil and give it to you. It's like it's gonna be like $8 and it's a fucking infant. Those are the best burritos.
Yeah, those usually pretty
Those
much
do
go
slap.
hard.
Those do slap.
That's i.e. super burrito. If you guys know what I'm talking
Super
about.
burrito's good. Super burrito's good. I was very sorely disappointed with Don Pedro.
Yeah, no, Don Pedro is nowhere close as Super Burrito.
Unfortunately.
Another good spot, Ernell, you should try Victor Rico's.
I've had Victor Rico's, yes. My work is
Victor Rico's slap. Guys, come join our Discord just like Shane is Classy has, just like Swamp Witchery has, and just like Ex Machina Ghost. You can hang out with us, play some games, join in on our discussions, and if you are a sub to our Twitch channel, that means you also get special access to more videos and content and watch parties. So come hang out.
But also, if you're a Switch too, you can come in as well.
Thank God. I'm so
I
glad
got you,
said
Garrick.
something
I
right
got
now.
you, Garrick. I saw your smile, and I was like, "Yep, let's go. We're going there, baby." See, Garrick knows. Garrick knows, dude. You know what I'm saying? He's Garrick Beaton,
Ernell, what do we
bro.
got coming up here
Bro,
next?
I just don't be saying anything.
He just be thinking it, dude. He just be Garrick beating it. Devin, that's a great question, my friend. If you give me a minute, I would like to just let y'all know that there's a way of going about things. There's a way of going about things. There's a way of doing things around here. And all of us are doing it in the meta minute.
Hell yeah, it is the Meta Minute. Today, if you guys remember our little wave segment we used to have on our old podcast, we are going to be giving you some bite-sized news segments here. We will cover brief points of worthy gaming news, such as release dates, delays, seasonal game content announcements, and industry event announcements. With that being said, guys, I'm going to name these off, and then we'll just, say some yays or nays or cools, and if you have a little input, let me know. Guys, blah. Yep. Guys, the first human patient to receive a Neuralink brain implant used it to stay up all night playing Civilization 6. This was coming from Anthony Wood via IGN. That's right, the first human, a 29-year-old implant recipient, Nolan Arbaugh, of a Neuralink brain implant, has shared new details on his recovery and experience of living with the experimental assistive tech, which has allowed him a greater level of freedom and autonomy, including the ability to pull an all-nighter playing Sid Meier's Civilization 6. Guys, are we moving closer to the augmentation? Are we about to be Deus Ex? Is this about to be Cyberpunk? Are we getting robot arms?
If I had a Neuralink, I would use it for awful things.
Yeah, we know
Like
this.
what?
We know
Awful, terrible things with myself, of course.
Browse
But
porn.
don't
That's it.
ask questions you don't want the answer to, DJ. Don't do that.
Just imagine how much I could do with a Neuralink, a banana, duct tape, and Vaseline.
And we're gonna leave you to do that at home with your imagination.
Yeah, we are. Hey. So obviously Ernell's the reason. Anyways, we're gonna move on to the next one here. There was a new Sonic game that leaks, and it looks like Fall Guys. This is coming from Zach Zwiesen via Kotaku. I skipped one, but we'll go back to it. A gameplay trailer for Sonic Toys Party, an unannounced Sonic game from Sega, has leaked online, showcasing a Fall Guys like multiplayer battle royale action. You can find that over on Kotaku. But it looks kind of interesting. I'm curious if it's going to be like a mobile only or if it's going to be on consoles.
Sonic is finally tapping into their massive roster of useless characters.
Sonic Toys Party is not what I imagined this being. What I heard.
Yeah, Sonic Toys Party sounds like a collaboration with Bad Dragon.
Sure does. Thank you, Devin. I'm glad that you're ready that way with me, because that is you said the name and I was like, is that a game?
Yeah.
Is that a game?
Is it really?
Welcome, Girl Spit. Welcome, Jack. Guys, we'll move on here. South Park Snow Day themed Xbox Series X consoles includes 4 unique designs of iconic characters. This is coming from Taylor Lyles over at IGN. Microsoft did it again with their custom-themed Xbox Series X consoles. The latest is 4 custom consoles inspired by the new South Park video game subtitled Snow Day. The 4 consoles are featured of Kenny, Stan, Cartman, and Kyle in their fantasy-themed costumes with matching controllers for each one. Fans can win them by signing up for a sweepstakes over on Xbox's official Twitter, and the contest ends April 22nd. I will say this. These don't look anywhere near as good as the Final Fantasy sweepstakes.
There's very few things that look as good as that. You know what I'm saying? It's a fucking crystal dog. Like, that's
yeah,
so
I didn't win it, and I was upset.
Like a piece of South Park, like stuff in my house. Like, it's a cool show. I like watching it. Like, it's funny.
Yeah,
but I don't know that I need like South Park.
Yeah,
in my like, I don't know that I need to look at it every day.
Like I feel like
Yeah.
like people that have like South Park memorabilia are like the exact same people that also have Joker memorabilia, and I don't like those folks. I don't like those guys.
Right.
Yeah. They also listen to
Yeah.
Joe Rogan and love ICP.
And they share like Facebook posts that are kind of like King and the Queen, you'll never touch my queen, and it's like Joker and Harley Quinn, not realizing that like Joker was awful to her.
Yeah,
For
literally
real,
Stockholm
real.
syndrome.
Oh, ugh, yikes. Anyways,
Guys,
Toys Party.
this was kind of cool. Bethesda has given us a small update on Elder Scrolls 6. This is coming from Charles Hardy over at Game Informer. 30 years ago, the Elder Scrolls series began with the Elder Scrolls Arena. So Bethesda put together a little celebratory post going through each game in the franchise. That was on Twitter, by the way. In the post, Bethesda briefly talked about the future of the series, confirming that folks at the studio were playing early builds of Elder Scrolls 6 and having a good time with the still in development RPG. Uh, Little is known about when it's going to be released, but Phil Spencer has made recent comments in interviews stating that it will not be coming to us till at least 2028, which sounds like it'll possibly be in the next generation of consoles.
That's
if
fucking
that is
wild.
true.
How could
Yeah.
you expect anybody to give a shit about a game 4 years away?
I know. I think
know.
it's funny that that Bethesda keeps talking about this game, and then Phil Spencer is like, no, not yet. You know what I mean? He's just like, stop getting your hopes up.
we need
He's
to not
tempering
do what, like,
expectations.
temporary expectations, because like we need to not do what they did with Starfield, where they built up like a bunch of hype over like a really long period of time, and then everybody was just like, whoa, this is gonna be the thing, and then you're just like,
Wow, that's a
damn,
Bethesda
another
game.
load screen, huh? This is a Bethesda game. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it ultimately felt like a Bethesda game, which there's nothing wrong with that. Like if you love I'm a Bethesda fan, right?
I
I'll admit
like
it.
Starfield.
Right,
It's
like,
not
I
the
mean,
for sure.
I don't,
but I like it.
don't like Starfield. I will wholeheartedly admit I played for not even 7 hours, uninstalled it, and never looked back. But like I'm still a Bethesda fan, but like their games are their games, right? Like we all know what Elder Scrolls 6 is gonna be. It's gonna come out when it's gonna come out. I'm literally, honestly, dude. The thing about Elder Scrolls 6
There we go.
is they could literally not advertise this game at all. They could just give us a release date 6 months before it drops, and it would have insane pre-order fucking numbers, dude.
Yeah.
I don't even need to see gameplay. I don't need to see character models. I don't even need to know the premise of the fucking game. They showed me a goddamn Vista 3 years ago that said Elder Scrolls 6, and I'm just like, oh, sign me up. When do I get it? And I'm still waiting.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. They did it so right with Fallout 4, not even announcing the game till like 6 months before its release at that E3 when Bethesda had their own conference, and literally almost everybody in the industry uses that as an example of how games should be announced, and yet Bethesda isn't even learning from that or even doing
Their
what
own
they
successes. Their own successes.
Like everybody in the industry talks about that all the time and how that's the best game announcement ever. That game wasn't the best Bethesda game, but it was still a pretty well received.
It was their
game.
best marketing campaign for a game. I would agree.
That's not
They need to fucking hire whoever did that. You know, they need to hire that person back if they don't work there anymore. But guys, we had a really cool announcement this last week because Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra is Skydance's Captain America Black Panther game that is arriving next year. This is coming from Marcus Stewart via Game Informer. The new game, Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra, is Amy Hennig's new game from Skydance Media and is coming next year in 2025. You can find the teaser on the newly announced game on their official Skydance YouTube page.
Okay, I saw a tweet from one Garrick B. motherfucking Eaton, okay, also known as Garrick Beaton, and he said something along the lines, not verbatim here, okay, but something along the lines of, I don't know if I'm actually excited about this or not, right, which is totally 100% fair. I want to say I saw this trailer and more specifically saw the engagement between Black Panther and Captain America and said, sign me the fuck up. Because
Same.
goddamn that the dude who is playing Black Panther in this, who plays King Ezekiel in The Walking
King
Dead,
Ezekiel.
I saw it. I saw him as Black Panther in this, and I said, God damn, I didn't know I needed this. I did not know I needed this, dude.
Great pick for T'Chaka. 100% a great pick for T'Chaka.
It's not T'Chaka, actually. It's his great grandfather or his grandfather.
So yeah, so
Oh, it's not
T'Chaka's
T'Chaka?
father.
Yeah.
T'Chaka's father.
So it's T'Chaka's dad.
No,
Yes.
yeah, it's T'Chaka's dad.
Oh, okay.
I
okay.
stand corrected then.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, it's two Black
okay, so is
Panthers
this,
before him.
Okay. Okay.
so is this character, does this character still have comic
It's
book
T'Chanda.
source, or
This
is
is
they
T'Chanda.
Yes,
This is the-
yes.
okay?
Yeah.
As long as they didn't fabricate it for the game, I'm okay with that.
Gotcha.
This
I just
is the
I don't
World War
know- I don't
II
know
era
how far
Avengers.
back, I just don't know how far back Black Panther's comic book lineage goes.
Oh,
sure.
it
Like,
goes
not
it
like
goes back to
publication, but
ancient
like-
times.
But no, but I mean, like, what we've actually seen in comic, like what's been
Oh, yeah.
represented
Character
and
wise.
runs.
Hmm.
So interesting. The one thing I thought that was very interesting was, and I don't know if it's just maybe the nature of the way that whoever is playing Cap is captured because of his helmet, but fuck, I cannot remember his name. But King Ezekiel's the actor playing King Ezekiel.
Yeah, I can never remember his name either. I'll tell you.
Yeah, he has a very exotic name. It's beautiful, but I can't fucking ever remember it for the life of me.
I got you. I got you. It is Carrie Payton, but it's Carrie with Khary.
Yes, Carrie Payton. Yeah, but it's I love the way it's spelled. Yeah, Carrie Payton. And so no, literally, like his motion capture looks like so much higher quality than Cap's.
Right, dude.
Not in a bad way. Like it did. The Cap looks really good, but like I don't know if like they just put more of an emphasis on him. And this is obviously very early. Like we've like it was just a teaser. But like I don't know. I'm very curious to see what the story is going to be. I'm still reserving like my excitement because Avengers burned me pretty bad.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair.
And as much as I love Spider-Man, so I trust Somniac more than than anything. So
yeah,
I think with Amy Hennig
Hennig
doing this though, Hennig, I think with her at the helm though, I have a little bit more faith because she is responsible for the stories of Uncharted and also Soul Reaver back in the day. So I think this is going to be more of an action adventure with a pretty well thought out story.
See, and like I guess I'll just have to, and I've never played Uncharted, so I'll have to.
Good games.
I'm not
games.
familiar with her work.
I'm a fool.
I'm gonna play it. I'm a Marvel fan, and Black Panther is one of my favorite characters.
There you go, baby.
So
there you go.
Yeah, I'm stoked. Guys, we're going to talk about the video game releases we have coming out for the rest of the week. Yesterday on March 25th, we had Acolyte of the Altar that came out on PC. I haven't actually seen anything about this game, so I'm kind of curious to see what that is. I'll have to look that up later. Huh?
Cool name.
Yeah, Acolyte of the Altar. It sounds, mystical as fuck. DJ's hiding in the bear again.
Yeah, he is.
Guys, today on March 26th, we had Bulwark Falconeer Chronicles come out for PS5, Xbox Series XS, and PC. We also, this one I'm actually kind of stoked about. I didn't even know this was happening, but we have the Grandia HD collection that came out today for PS4 and Xbox One.
Grandia, dude. I haven't read that name in so long. I love that game. Grandia 2 specifically?
I played Grandia 3 specifically. Grandia 3 was
Acolyte of the Altar is it's a card battler.
Oh shit.
No, we know Garrick loves those.
I know. It's got mostly positive on Steam too.
Esco said Garrick is a sloop for card games. Totally true.
Hi, Esco. Everybody hydrate.
Esco says hydrate, yeah.
Card games, board games.
Also released today is Planet Zoo console edition that's out on PS5, Xbox Series X and S. Another game that was released today was the aforementioned South Park Snow Day. That's out for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Switch, and PC. I saw that game did not get reviewed very well.
It looks real bad. Like the game. I'm not saying the game doesn't look fun. It looks not good.
Yeah,
Dude,
which
it's
is
like the
disappointing.
exact opposite of Fractured Butthole.
Literally.
Yeah,
That
which
was
is
a great game.
yeah, because that was well received, and so was the Stick of Truth. Both of those games were well received, and it's really disappointing to see them kind of go downhill again and kind of revert to old South Park games. Guys, there is another few more games that are actually coming out this week. We have Ghost Trick Phantom Detective that is out March 28th on Android. So for all you you got games on your phone people, play that. Another game that looks actually really interesting coming out March 28th is Open Roads, and that's going to be out on PS5, Xbox Series X
Let's
and S,
fucking go,
PS4,
dog.
Xbox One, Switch, and PC.
Isn't that day one Game Pass?
I
think so,
believe
yeah.
it is. I need to check, but I'm pretty sure somebody counterpicked that on my fantasy critic, and whoever did, you're a fool.
Did you pick Open Roads?
I did.
Okay.
Yep.
Good choice.
Yep. March 28th, we have Outward coming out for Switch. And then we also have Pepper Grinder on Switch and PC. And on the 29th, we have Madison. And that's for PSVR 2.
Do yourself a favor and maybe double think that game. Like just double check yourself on Madison. You know what I'm saying?
On which one?
Yeah.
Madison. It's
Ernell,
it's a PSVR 2 port version of a horror game known as Madison.
Oh, is that the one with the face scene?
Yes.
I love your
Yeah,
just
maybe
like
don't
subtle...
play that in VR unless you're feeling like crazy brave. Or honestly, admit yourself if you have other concerns if you want to play that in VR.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
That's
I
a
agree.
yikes.
Yeah.
That's a yikes on
Big
VR.
yikes.
Yeah, big yikes.
Yeah.
It's
a red flag.
It's a
Yeah. Continue, Devin.
You know, it's not a yikes, guys.
Mm.
I'm sure Garrick would love to tell you all about it. What's our next segment, boy?
What? We have another segment? Oh
Another
yeah.
segment,
You guys remember the good old days when you're playing through the Mario Bros games and you're just like,
Okay.
Man, I need to go back and find that one little secret thing. So you pause that bad boy and you go back to chapter select and you choose the new world because that's what we're doing now. We're ready to chapter select.
Chapter
Hell
select,
yeah,
baby.
brother.
I'm going straight to chapter 2.
Chapter 2,
So-
World 2.
Chapter 69, baby.
Guys,
Let's go.
this is our chapter select is our hands-on segment where we're going to be providing first impressions and individual reviews for games that we've recently been playing. And there are two big RPG hitters that have come out within the last month. And I'd like to start off with you today, Ernell. If you could tell us all about your experience with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Boys. Okay, so I want to start out by saying, letting the people at home know, after 107 hours, I finally beat Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Holy shit.
Hell yeah.
In my
Medical. How long
medical
it took Geo.
my medical leave from work, I spent a good chunk of that time just saying, you know what? I'm gonna play the fuck out of this game. And so I fired that bad boy up and went right motherfucking through it. This Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is the sequel to the seminal Final Fantasy VII Remake, for anyone at home that does not know that. And this game has been an experience. I also want to make sure that I take some... Oh god, nope, my bad. I also want to make sure that I take some time to state that I'm not going to talk about this game from a frame of you having had not played Remake yet. because to be completely honest with you, and I'm just going to say this flat and outright, if you have not played Final Fantasy VII Remake, you have no business playing this game yet. You should not start here. Do not start here. You don't necessarily need to start from the first original Final Fantasy VII. You don't necessarily need to start from Crisis Core, but at least do yourself the favor of playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, and taking the time to learn about this story, learn about the origins of these characters, how they're getting together, and why we are where we are in this. Because Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is effectively the second disc of Final Fantasy VII OG. And it is where we kick off the original game, going into an open world, where we now get to navigate sections of this open world in a series of effectively 6 different regions that play as different open world sandboxes. And when I say open world sandboxes, I mean like these places are fucking huge. I want to go into this by stating that one of the best things that they do in this game, following in from coming out of Final Fantasy VII Remake, is that they really knew and understood scale in this game. And coming out of being in Midgar in Final Fantasy VII Remake, that was a great decision that they made, because we see Midgar in the first game and realize that the city sort of acts as this monster of a place. We look up and we see this huge machine in the middle of the city. We see these huge machines that are like sort of functioning around the city, and that's kind of the setting that we have. So we have to go into the rest of this story seeing the scale of all the settings around everywhere that we go, and Jesus Christ, did they fucking nail it in this game. Everything feels the right size. It feels like everything that you're facing against is gargantuan, and that the stakes are real because of it. And that was something that I felt that was very important for them to get right in this. Now, like I said, I don't want to review this in a way that is coming off of you, the audience, having, not played Final Fantasy Remake before. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the differences between this game and Final Fantasy VII Remake. There is in the way that this game adds on to Remake beautifully. They did not take away anything in Remake that we liked and enjoyed. They only just added new things, new awesome things, tons of new mini games in this game, which I will get to in a minute. But the systems and quality of life stuff that they added in this comparatively to what was available to us in Remake is just nonstop. It's out of this world how they handled this. The combat, Devin, we enjoyed the combat of Remake. The combat in this is the same, but they've added a couple new things, like, for example, synergy abilities, where you can effectively have 2 people in your party do a move together to do more damage to enemies, as well as add a battle effect that is happening, where you can either different synergy abilities allow your limit break time to go by quicker. Some of them give you temporary unlimited MP. Some of them allow you to have more ATB, which the ATBs are like the active ways that you get options. For anybody that doesn't know, you have it's sort of a fusion of active combat and time and turn based, and their way to fuse that together was say, okay, you can do active combat in this way that is like just hack and slash, but in order for you to use abilities, spells, anything like that, you have to utilize 1 ATB in order for you to perform that move that you want to perform. And that's kind of their ebb and flow and balance in every single encounter that you have in the game. So synergy skills was a really, really cool add, especially because in this section of the story, our characters are now friends. They're acquainted with each other. They've been around each other. They've been battling things with each other. And so it's a part of what makes the game feel like they're actually building relationships. I also think that their utilization of those synergy abilities was gracious in introducing a new thing. Devin, they brought back a spear grid, my good sir. In the form of what's being called folios in this game. And folios is effectively the spear grid in which you and your party are able to unlock stat boosts, new synergy abilities, magic spells. It's awesome coming off of anyone who was a fan of Final Fantasy X. That was their ability level scaling in that game.
Or even like Skyrim, where it has like a sphere like thing where you start at a small spot, but then you can branch out, you know, with your level ups. That's really good to hear. The only other Final Fantasy that got even close to that was Final Fantasy 12 with their Gambit system, where it was kind of like the chessboard type thing.
Yeah.
Shane is Classy asked earlier, did you 100% the game, or was it just a standard playthrough? Or my question is, did you just do some of the side stuff?
I 100% of the game, but I did not platinum the game.
Okay. So you did like all the side quests and everything?
I did all the side shit. Everything available on every single icon on every single map is grayed out. I checklisted the fuck out of this game. However, in order to get platinum, you have to also play the game again on hard mode. And that was not something I was willing to do.
Not right now.
Not at the moment. Not currently at the moment. Yeah. Now, with that said, a couple new things that I want to make sure I point out in this game that were not in Remake that are very important. The mini games in this game are most of the fluff. And finally, they fucking figured out how to make fluff feel good. Because every single mini game in this game, I want them to port to some mobile version of that game. More specifically, the new card game that they have introduced in this.
I want that shit, dude.
Known as Queen's Blood. And this is probably one of my favorite in video game card games I have ever fucking played in my life. I was obsessed with this shit because in the game, it's like your own little it's like your own little Yu-Gi-Oh story. It's like an entire Yu-Gi-Oh storyline that you're like having for Cloud in the game. And Queen's Blood, the card game itself, is just so cool. It's so like I don't have the time, unfortunately, to kind of go into the details of it. Though they effectively have all the creatures that are in the game, the monsters that you fight in the game, are different cards that you have access to in Queen's Blood. You can buy booster packs. You can get and win individual stronger cards from playing and beating other characters. There's an entire side story arc where Cloud climbs up to be the best Queen's Blood player in the world. It's so fucking hype and has no business being that hype. The Chocobo races feel good. There's an entire like shooting game thing that they have in this that's really, really cool. There is a whole other like fighting game thing that they introduced in this that was really fucking dope too. There's like 15 mini games in this that they use to sort of like pad some of that extra time, and they fucking nailed it with every single one. I'm telling you, boys, if there's ever a fucking reason outside of just Final Fantasy VII's dope ass story to play this fucking mini games are it, dude. And I know that's crazy to say, but I'm telling you, it's it. Anyways, to kind of tie things off here, I'm kind of going over to my notes on the side. Okay, so the story itself is obviously the thing that I want to kind of like come down on. For people like me and Devin, who have been invested in the Final Fantasy VII story since the past 27 years since the original came out, this weirdly has some kind of level of fan service that doesn't feel heavy-handed. Everything in this game, story-wise, feels like magic. It like I can't even begin to explain like this weird level of nostalgia that I experienced just playing this game, generally speaking, but also just recognizing that like this sort of has come full circle, where like they're canonizing the fact that this game, for anyone that hasn't played Remake for, you know, whatever reason, remakes in the story canonize the fact that it's not technically a remake. It's actually like a parallel storyline to the original game. And they double down on that in this story, and that's as much as I can say without spoiling shit for you. So there is reasons to play this even if you played the original game. This is the most creative way I think that they probably could have gone about telling the story. But my favorite part about this is that even though I've known these characters for 27 years now, and I've loved all these characters, and we all know these characters to some extent or another, literally every single one of us know who Cloud and Sephiroth is. Every single one of us know who Tifa is. Like, we know these characters to some extent or another. And somehow, some way, they made them feel new and fresh and made me care about these characters again on an emotional level that I didn't realize was possible until playing this game. And there's some, I cried twice in this game for scenes that were not even in the original Final Fantasy, that they've sort of formulated to make the character storylines feel more impactful. And they, wow, dude, wow. I cannot express that enough. Unfortunately, though, and I'm going to come down on this, I am only going to be giving this game a 4 out of 5 today. That is a wonderful play.
Don't you dare assign a number
That
rating
is
to
a
that.
wonderful.
Don't you dare do it. You
Play
used
it.
the right thing.
Play it. Yes, I do not think that this game is perfect. There are some little tiny things in this game that I feel are a detriment to it. I in very big, bold letters in my notes said that, let's see, where is it? Extremely fan service in the best and worst ways. Sephiroth's involvement in the greater story feels wishy-washy, and thus makes him feel not needed in this game, because he very much is presently not present. He is not present.
Oh, you little puppy.
He's not Prezowed, Devin, unfortunately. But the story is also a little bit convoluted, where if you're not paying attention closely to what's going on, some things are just left unexplained, in like, not in a way of like, oh, there's some loose, like, loopholes here, in a way of like, you're seeing it happen and you're like, what the fuck is going on right now? Like, and like, unless you're really paying attention, you're not going to pick up like what the fuck is going on with some of these moment by moment like things. And that for me kind of took it down just the tiniest bit. But I do feel that this game needs to be played. Again, play Final Fantasy VII Remake first. Please do yourself the fucking favor of doing that, and then come to this. This game is everything Final Fantasy VII Remake was, and then added more on top of it, and you will not be disappointed. Play it.
Sweet. I cannot wait to play this. Whether I get a PS5 and play it, or just wait for a PC port like I did with the first remake.
It's gonna be out in May, right? Or
so the console exclusivity goes up in May. Is what everybody's been saying. That's as long as Sony has the exclusivity license is for May, which is a lot different than what they've been able to do in the past with Square. And I think that's because Square Enix really wants their games on more platforms because they want more sales. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. That's
so.
Can I also
with that being said,
can I also end just by saying too, the soundtrack in this is fucking impeccable. Fucking impeccable. It's so good,
as it should be.
They redid every single hit song from the original game and made it sound modern. They have rap versions of them, they have metal versions of them, they have just regular reorchestrated versions of them, and every single one is dynamic and it fucking hits. Fucking listen to this game. Warning though, for those people that do jump into it, the music volume is really loud, so turn it down to 7 right off the start of the game. Turn it down to 7. Yeah. Do yourself a fucking favor. Anyways, continue.
And that's coming from you. That's saying something. Guys, another seminal RPG that has come out that's been pretty well received, minus some gross comments and stuff that have been made on Steam. DJ has gotten his hands on Dragon's Dogma 2. My boy, can you tell us all about it? And try and keep this one around like 10 minutes if you could, please.
Yeah. Dragon's Dogma 2, the talk of the town right now. And I have played it. I bought the game. I pre-ordered the game, but I've only been able to get 11 hours so far because of external factors. But I want to start with some of the gripes I have because I do want to gush about all the great things that this game offers. But I do have to say, I'm on PC, and the performance issues are not exaggerated. When I'm in a city, in a big town, where they're loading up all the NPCs in there, it chugs. And it is very noticeable. For some people, it might be okay. They'll notice it, but it won't be like, but for me, it gives me motion sickness. Um, Garrick.
Just wanted to piggyback off you really quick. Yes, I have seen multiple like sources and like content creators and reviewers. I think even Paul Tassi himself was just like, if you are going to play Dragon's Dogma 2 right now and you have the option to it, the best playing experience is currently on the PlayStation 5.
Yeah. Yeah. And on console. So, that whole hubbub about it being locked at 30 FPS, well, console gets the last laugh with that. Because it chugs and it ruins my experience because most of the time you're going to be in the town um, buying up equipment or resting at a tavern or an inn and like accepting quests and whatnot. So it really sucks that those core areas are where you feel that the most. But once you enter out of the open world, it is almost buttery smooth. This game is beautiful. And that's really the only thing I have a problem with the game chugging. And also want to talk about the what everyone was on a witch hunt for was Capcom's Capcom's version of microtransactions in this game and their choice to monetize the game. There's been a lot of misinformation spread about
So much
Dragon
misinformation.
Dogma 2's monetization system.
Here, I'm gonna give DJ the 2 real quick, just so you can teach the people at home. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so it clearly these people who broke the news about Capcom's microtransactions, like there were valid points on both sides, but there was gross misinformation being put out saying that these items are required or they're hard to find. I've been playing for 11 hours and I've not once thought about thinking of it as a grind to get these materials. The main purchasable currency, which is Rift crystals, are only used at a Rift crystal shop where you can buy these like Rift powder, where you can like change a pawn's behavior. You can buy glasses, which do nothing, just to have glasses onto your character, and you can recruit higher level pawns. So let's say I'm level 12 and I want to recruit a level 25 pawn. It's going to cost me around 900 to 1,200 Rift crystals. But if I am the same level or even above the level of that pawn I'm recruiting, it will cost 0 or close to 0. And you can get Rift crystals readily available as you explore. And your main pawn that you create, since the game is constantly online, they're actually people who can recruit your pawn whilst you're playing. So they're gathering information. They're gathering info for their playtime and also getting you Rift crystals as they return to your world, basically. So that currency is readily available.
Exactly how it functioned in the first fucking game?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So that's why I wanted to start this review saying that Dragon's Dogma 2 is in a new light. It has a lot more eyes on it because the first one, even though it was it's hailed by many, it's a cult classic, and not a lot of people got to really play it and understand its systems. It's not your typical RPG. In fact, I think it does so much. It does a lot differently that I could put it in its own category of RPG, or subcategory, if you will. because the way this game works is that you don't actually level normally. Like in RPG, you get to level all your base stats. Like in a Dark Souls game, you get to level your vigor, your strength. Um, but when you level up in this game, all that's handled for you, and instead, um, you gain experience through your class as well, or your vocation, as it's called in this game. And
Mm.
there are plenty of different vocations. There's thief, fighter, warrior, sorcerer, uh, mage, and you gain XP by playing as that vocation, and then you get discipline points, which you could grab different skills and attacks
So
as you progress through the
Final
game.
Fantasy Tactics. That's really
It's
cool.
a job system. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really,
job
really
system,
cool.
basically, yes. So, um, and I think that's where the beauty of this game is. It's so unique in an RPG. It's not your typical RPG. It's not a Bethesda RPG where you just fast travel, go here. They really put an emphasis. Dragon's Dogma puts an emphasis on exploration. Like go out into the open world, find things, gather things. If you see something cool in the distance, you go to that thing. And there's plenty of things within the open world that keep you entertained. Like as you're patrolling the open world, you run into fucking goblins patrolling. You'll run into someone else's pawn fighting an ogre, and you can join it in defeating an ogre as well. And then, like, let's say if you liked how that pawn fought, you can recruit them into your party as well.
Mm.
And these could
That's
be
cool.
pawns that Capcom has made that just populate the world, or there could just be random pawns from random players just wandering about your world, ready to be recruited on a whim. Or no.
Very quick question. I saw from someone, and I just want to see if this is true or not, that you can hire someone's pawn via like a code.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Okay.
so there
Yeah, it's
are
in the
there
first
are
game.
Yes.
there are rift stones scattered throughout the map, and like a central rift stone in each city.
Gotcha.
Where you could enter the rift, and there'll be like a selection of pawns from different players, but you can also like click on the rift stone, and you can they actually streamlined it so where you can search for a pawn via code, or you can select from your friends' pawns if your other friends are playing the game. So you can I can look at all the pawns that my friends have made, and I'd be like, oh, sick, I'll recruit that pawn to my party.
Can we all make pawns of each
and-
other and like hire each other's pawns?
Yeah, that's really funny. It'd be really funny. But yeah, like Devin.
I was just gonna say, for that to happen, Ernell, we'd all have to be on the same platform.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Damn.
Unfortunately. But
Okay.
that's the beauty of it. I think everything about this game is really good. Like just it's a gorgeous game. The RE engine it looks spectacular. And
Yes, it does.
it almost feels like I'm not it's so visually distinct that it's like I've never played this game before. You ever play a game and you're like, I kind of like it looks similar to some of the other games I've played. Dragon's Dogma 2 looks absolutely like nothing I've played in
The first game's the
in a
same
while.
way.
Yeah.
And it is so it's unique. The sound design is great. The combat, I'm not like what turned me away from the first game or trying out the first game, even though I put a couple hours into it, was the control scheme. I will have to say it does not feel that way at all with this sequel, because all your weapon abilities, and I'm playing on a controller, all your weapon abilities and your basic attacks feel seamless to use. I'm using a fighter vocation, so I'm using a sword and shield. And it feels really it's kind of weird to get used to, like having to hold down either L1 or R1 or left bumper or right bumper to get into some of your I believe L1 gets into your weapon skills and your
Okay.
other and stuff, and then like
Is it like
you-
is it like L1 and then like your XYAB
yes,
and then like yeah
Yeah.
okay submenu.
Mhm. And then like your so like it's mapped out like your R1 is just defend, like for my shield I just like, I block. Um eh, your right trigger is to grab onto things. So that's where like the combat, if you're facing a bigger enemy, that's where the monster hunter
Can you
Shadow-
remap?
Yeah, Shadow Colossus style.
you can remap. Yes, you can. I believe you can remap the whole controller, but when you level up a vocation, you get a skill, you can actually choose what button it gets put towards. So like I could
Okay.
if I grab the thrust skill, I can like put it to uh the weapon skill up to Y or B, A, you can choose wherever it goes.
Sure. Okay.
Um it is a lot of fun. Playing through this game and exploring, and it rewards you for exploring. Um and you'll find yourself just getting lost, and like in the quests are fun to do because some quests are like the game doesn't hold your hand through anything. It does not. It lets you just make mistakes, and it being on one save file, it really lets you know you fucked up if you did fuck up, right? Because some quests are timed, some quests are urgent. If you wait too long, it disappears. Um, some quests are across the map. You gotta like travel by ox cart, or if you walk on foot over there, and like maybe have to burn a camping pack uh on the way. There's so much to this game, and I wish I had more time to talk about it, but it's honestly, I believe if I got a little bit more time, this might be my game of the year.
Okay.
If they
All
fix the
right.
PC issues, if they fix the FPS issues within in the main city that I'm in, I will it'll definitely shoot all the way up, because that's the only
Mhm.
thing that's holding it back right now.
Mhm.
Also the story, it's very similar to the first game, but Dragon so this think of Dragon's Dogma 2 not as a sequel, but as like a reimagining of the first game, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like
From like a
like
different character's perspective.
no, it's like, what if we just improved everything about the first game and like repackaged it in a way that is new, and like if Dragon's Dogma 1 had a bigger budget, and this is what they wanted to do from the beginning, right? And they
Okay,
didn't they
that's
didn't have to
interesting.
cut it.
Okay.
Okay.
So the way the story goes, and I probably say this because it's not a big spoiler. It's not anything crazy. So like in the first game, you are selected as the Arisen, which is if this big fucking dragon takes your heart, you like resurrect as an Arisen, and there can only be one Arisen at a time, and they're the only ones that can summon pawns and control them in within the game world. So the way this story starts is you start as an enslaved like miner. Um and you suddenly uh could get control of a pawn, and because the mines get attacked,
Why are they
right?
enslaving kids?
And why would you say that?
minor? I'm sorry. Go on.
Anyway, you find out, so like you're getting escorted to the main city because they're like, "Oh shit, another Arisen." And you're like, "Another Arisen? I have no memory because like I just know of like being in the mines and shit." And you find out that there is a false Arisen in your place, and uh, but for some reason they're able to control pawns as well, even though there can only the rules of the world dictate there can only be one Arisen, and you are that one. So um instead of having like this weird thing with the first game, the second game is like it's like sabotage, it's like a little bit of espionage, a little bit like
Hmm.
because you're fighting like a little bit more political, like Game of Thrones, like oh shit, like what's the motives of these characters, and why are they like they're doing this for power and status, and like and it unfolds in a pretty cool way. But that's all I can say because that's all I know at this point, and I think that's fine to say.
Sure. Yeah,
Um,
that's fair.
with the story, and I think it's really intriguing. Um, and yeah, there's just so much, dude. There's so much. Like I said, um, exploration is fun, and even your pawns are a little bit more helpful this time. Like the
Mhm.
AI is still AI, but they'll actually have banter with one another and with you as well. Like they'll be I had my main pawn mention. I just realized um all the pawns in this party are women, and another one says, "Well, I'm not complaining," and and then and like whatever pawn you recruit, they'll like even tell stories about another time they're in someone else's party. They'll be like, "Yeah, I remember I was following one Arisen and he led us to our death." And like, and you're like, "Oh wow." Like and your other pawns will be like, "Oh wow, I'll keep that in mind."
That's
That's
fucking
cool.
wild. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
and they're really helpful.
I will say
Yeah.
I've been getting a lot of FOMO for not picking it up yet, and so I actually
Me
started playing
too.
the first Dragon's Dogma
I
on
saw
PC.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's really cool is a lot of the stuff that you're saying is actually all in the first game, of like all of it. It
Yeah.
sounds like it sounds like a remake almost of the original
Yeah,
so far,
that's what I meant, like,
except
when it's not like a sequel, it's more
Mhm,
like just a reimagining of the game. Um,
mhm.
and yeah, I think you should play it because I can't say play it now because if you wanna get on PC, there's gonna be some performance issues. Even turning the game, graphics down and, like, putting on performance mode doesn't help it at all. I think it's, like a memory issue with how many NPCs
Mm.
are loading because this is, Capcom's like Capcom really wants to test the RE engine because of course they use that for Resident Evil. But
Mhm.
like now
Mhm,
it's like for a wide open world where this renders so much shit. I think they don't
mhm.
they necessarily didn't know how to handle that. Um but yeah, I think it's a play it. If you're interested in the Dragon's Dogma series, I think it's a great game. Um
Mhm.
Besides performance
Yeah.
issues, get on console. I think this could rival. This could be in your game of the year considerations because it is
I
that good.
did
It feels that good.
I did see for even on performance mode on the consoles, the PS5 is hitting a max, and this is per Digital Foundry. The PS5 is hitting a max of 38 frames per second in
Yeah,
performance mode.
nothing runs over
Mhm.
45 frames. Like it's
Yeah,
but all on console it is 30 frames uncapped, which I personally fucking hate. Just cap it at 30 frames, please God.
yeah,
But because that 15 frame bounce is going to be enough to dissuade some people, I think.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's noticeable. 15 frames is noticeable.
I'm
Yeah,
But
but I,
yeah,
I think
I
it's
think they should
it's
just
it
cap
is
it.
the smoothest experience on console at the
Yes.
moment
yeah. I'm
because
gonna wait.
PC is having a lot of issues with that performance.
I'm gonna wait like a month
Capcom,
to probably pick this
yeah,
up, and I'm gonna
Capcom
get it on
has
PC.
already made like an apology, basically like stating that they themselves are not overly happy with
Mhm.
optimization at launch, and that they are going to
Mhm.
continue to work to improve optimization on both the console and the PC. So don't lose hope there. They definitely know that people want to play this game and that there's a good level of interest for it. So
They have
if you
not
it will
apologized.
continue to get optimized if that's your biggest concern.
They have not apologized for those microtransactions though, because they're not criminal.
They're
Yeah,
not.
No,
They're
They-
not
They're
bad.
it's
They
literally
had-
something that Capcom has
Let's
literally
just-
done for
let's
many
just
of
make
their
that
other games.
perfectly fucking clear here. Okay, the microtransactions are like the smallest sin in video games, like ever.
yeah, and
yeah.
I mean there is merit to the conversation with people saying it's a bad precedent in the industry, and I totally get
Yeah,
that. But
yeah.
for those people who said that it it's a pay to win, like I literally saw the first tweet when Dragon's Dogma first released, they have pay to win microtransactions, and I assure you, none of it's pay to win. All of every single item is obtainable in game without much fuss. I literally have um like what, like $25 worth of Rift crystals just by playing like 11 hours.
Yeah, I saw
And
somebody
that's with
complaining.
spending Rift crystals as well.
Yeah.
Point.
I saw somebody complaining on Facebook and like saying, do not support Capcom, blah, 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 this and that. And then I literally commented on their post. I was like, dude, you play Call of Duty. That literally has a pay to win system on buying blueprints of guns that you do not have unlocked yet that have a bunch of attachments on them. And
Yeah.
I was like, if you're going to be up in arms about this, you should be up in arms about a game that you play.
Stay consistent, man. Stay consistent.
Yeah. That's good to hear, DJ. I'm really looking forward to playing this game. I'm really looking forward to
think you'll
see
love it.
when the updates come out.
I
Guys,
almost bought it.
we
yesterday.
we
I
are
almost
going to
bought
move
it.
into our next segment here. And I look forward to hearing you talk about Dragon's Dogma 2 when you get further into the game, and hopefully I can riff off of that. But we are going to go into our headlining topic here real quick, and we are going to the Endgame, guys. And in this segment today, we are going to talk about, do we really need DLC anymore? Guys, this is going to be an open forum discussion. Downloadable content, is it really needed? Larian Studios recently announced that they are not working on DLC for Baldur's Gate 3, which also won Game of the Year last year and is one of the most celebrated games that's come out in the modern era of gaming. So let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about, what do we want to see from video games nowadays and the difference between DLC and expansions. And Garrick, I actually want to go to you first.
I don't know. I think this is an interesting topic to discuss in general, mostly because like I personally I do support buying like expansions and DLCs, but I'm also very finicky and selective of the ones that I choose to buy. And I don't and maybe I'll figure out what it is as I'm discussing this, but I do have like a personal internal like system I sort of like use to gauge whether or not it's like worth my time and money. I think what's interesting when like you're talking about DLCs and expansions with games is like there's not a whole lot of precedence for things like normalized pricing versus like what sort of content you're going to be getting. I think the thing that comes to mind that is like the biggest offender of this is going to be Tiny Tina's Wonderland and their $40 season pass, right? And they released 4 DLCs that you could literally log in and complete in its entirety in 10 minutes. That's not an exaggeration either. I'm not even bullshitting you. Like you could log in because it didn't even add a new level. It added a new bullshit gauntlet thing to this crap endgame loop. That like they were just trying to like feverishly keep alive with this bullshit trickle feed of content. That offered nothing to its player base. Literally nothing. No new story. Like, sure, like it added in new weapons and stuff, which is cool because it's a looter shooter. But at the end of the day, like, is just guns worth $10? Right? Probably not, if you ask me. Right? But we also do have, like DLC packages from like Marvel Spider-Man 2018, right? The City That Never Sleeps, which I really liked as a DLC package. I thought the stories that were offered there were like expanded on what was offered in the base game. I felt like it was worth my money. I felt like I got a decent amount of time, like several hours each out of like the whole thing was $30 and it offered me over 10 hours of gameplay between, the 3 episodes, and that felt worth my time for the price. Right? Because at that point, like I'm spending $30. I expect to be able to get like at least an indie game title's worth of time out of that expansion. But there's such a funny thing that like downloadable content is often more than just like expansion packs and content packs. And then we start getting into like some of the things that we discuss a lot more frequently, like when we come to like DLC, like because microtransactions ultimately are a form of DLC at the end of the day. Like they're cosmetic packages, right? They add gameplay packages, they add things that you can purchase, they're character advancement packages, they're all sorts of things that offer various like like either win to pay mechanics or pay to win mechanics, excuse me, on like in games, or actually offering you an actual genuinely additional gameplay experience. And I feel like there's a place for a lot of that stuff, but some of this shit needs to go away. I hate season passes. And when I say, I don't mean battle passes. Like, I don't mean like your monthly content from a live service game. I mean like a season pass for DLC, for an expansion. You, as a company, are expecting me to spend an additional $30 to $40 in good faith. In good faith, because when it comes to buying a base game and pre-ordering, right, like I've hopefully seen 2 to 3 trailers, 15 to 20 minutes of gameplay, and a good marketing thing. That doesn't often occur with expansions and DLCs. There might be some marketing, right? But the level of marketing is going to be much smaller in comparison to what you're going to be getting for like a full service, like you're going to be spending $70 on this. Here's what you're getting for that $70, right? As opposed to like, all right, we want you to spend $40 on this. It's going to be 4 episodes of content that you're going to be able to, that we're going to release for you over the course of a year. What is that content? You'll have to wait and find out. Fuck that. Fuck that. $40? $40 on a... You want me to spend $40 on a wait and see? Hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no, dog. Devin.
I'm going to agree with you on that front, except there is one company that has actually never done me wrong on their expansion passes.
Bungie
and that
Destiny.
would be that. No. Trust me, I have some words about that. That is going to be my talking segment here in a bit. But Bethesda, because I have done that with the last few games they have done, and every single expansion has just been great for me personally. And they always add depth to story.
Bethesda doesn't do a season pass.
Yes, they do. They do.
Do they?
Yep.
Was there a bundle package for Skyrim? Because if there was, I wasn't aware of it.
There was, and there was also one for Fallout 4 as well.
Okay, then I stand corrected. But the thing is like those are expansion passes. That's what I mean. Which comes to my next talking point is like there is no defined definition of what DLC really is, other than the fact that it's extra additional shit that you get in game. Yeah. Like there's no parameters. There's no parameters for what DLCs are, and the lines of what makes DLC and what makes an expansion like very different, right? And it's gotten pretty blurry there, if you ask me, because MMOs still tend to engage in the traditional expansion format. Like World of Warcraft definitely does this. They do traditional expansions where you are, you're paying $40 to $60, but it's like a whole ass sequel to the game basically being added on, right? Like you're getting years, plural, years worth of content for that one purchase, right? They're like, okay, we're gonna get like the new WoW expansion is coming out. Like, cool, you get 2 years to indulge in that expansion. Right? That's also getting content added into it as you are playing it, right? Like, so you're paying for content and then you're getting free content additionally for owning that content. That's worth it, right? But when we've got like this scenarios where we're just like, all right, it's $10. $10 for what? Well, we're gonna add on to this story, but 9 times out of 10, in my experience, those additional stories never ever hold up compared to the base game. Like think about all of the DLCs and the expansions that you guys have engaged in over the years, and how often have they really offered you a genuinely positive experience that's left you. But besides your Bethesda comment, right, Devin? Because I also buy all of Bethesda's DLC. Like I loved everything in Fallout 4. I loved everything in Skyrim. Like Dragonborn was like, as the final DLC, was peak for Skyrim. That shit ruled. But like, again, like, we had several years to be able to engage in that content before we had another piece of content come out, right? And then we've got, but like, on the whole, do you guys really have fun with your DLC that you get for $15 to $20? Like, I'm genuinely asking you guys, like, do you guys, most of the time, do you leave that DLC thinking, yeah, that was super worth the $15 to $30 I spent on it? Or do you guys leave that DLC experience going, I don't really know if that was worth it? Like, it was fun. I had fun a little bit, but like, I don't know if it was enough fun to justify the price I just spent.
Yeah,
DJ.
Oh, go ahead, DJ.
Oh, I was gonna say when I was thinking about this topic earlier, I realized that I haven't really for DLC, right? For DLC expansions, that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about just random little microtransactions. We're actually talking about actual DLC, adding content within the game. I realized that I haven't experienced that with a game where I played the original game and then like I finish it and then I wait for the DLC and then like I play the DLC after, like I buy it and
Right,
I
and
buy
you're
DLC.
so eager for the deal. Like, when was the last time? Yeah, I can't
I
think of it.
haven't.
Oh, I
I haven't.
actually,
I
no,
haven't. I
I
haven't.
can't.
I haven't been able to. Well, like the only one I'm like it's about to happen is Elden Ring, and because like
Right.
I usually buy games years after they release, and they have like an ultimate edition or it's on sale with all the DLCs on sale. So then I experience the content like whole with all DLCs combined. So yeah, I haven't really experienced like playing through a DLC like that. I don't or like I haven't like played the base game and then like like bought DLC and then played the DLC because it I don't know because like
Right.
when I think about when we just asked about like do you guys feel satisfied about purchasing like that spending that 15 20 even up to $45 for more content, is it justified? Like do you feel justified in that purchase? I have no clue. I think like for most people I think like just having more to their favorite game, I guess to be able to come back to their favorite game is more than justified in like purchasing that much. It's kind of like playing the game, buying the game again. You know what I mean? Like if that makes sense. Because like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you know what? No, never mind. Cyberpunk. Sorry, Cyberpunk is the only one that like I can put to my memory that I've actually just bought the DLC. But that also came with
But
a
you
fresh
didn't have
playthrough.
to, like, you weren't like chomping at the bit for that because none of us
Mhm.
knew that was coming, right? Most of
Right.
these companies literally release a game with a season pass in mind. They're like, yeah, in a year we're gonna release something. It might be good, it might be hot shit. You'll have to find out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know who's the biggest, like, I think Ubisoft is the worst when it comes to that because they're like, buy our gold edition game with all these
Yeah.
promised
I remember,
DLCs.
dude,
Yeah,
every game used to do that in the 2010s. Every
Yeah.
game used to do that.
you get the season
Um,
pass included with your purchase. Nobody does
yeah,
that
gold.
anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Um,
I
oh, Devin, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say it was really funny. I didn't even have an Xbox One yet, but with the Fallout 4 announcement and they did the season pass announcement, if I remember the expansion pass, sorry. They did their expansion pass announcement and it was going to be like it was like $40 for all the expansions for Xbox One. And then like a month later they're like, "Okay, we realize it's actually a lot more content than we anticipated. So we actually have to raise the price to $60. And it was for
Yeah.
4 full expansions, which all came with new areas too, like new maps and stuff.
Like straight up new maps, like added pieces to the game.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I bought the expansion pass and the code and redeemed it on Xbox.com before I even had an Xbox One, just so I got it for $20 cheaper because I knew I was going to get that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was one of the first games. But it- please continue, DJ.
Yeah, I was gonna say like to Garrick's point, like there is no regulation for like what classifies as DLC. You know what I mean? Because remember, like DLC could be anything from horse armor to a fucking literally almost a whole subset of the original game. You know, like the content is so variable when we talk about DLC in this umbrella term because there's not regulation in it and there's not a standard set within the industry for you to identify like okay what makes a DLC, what makes what makes a microtransaction, you know, what makes these things, right? um and I wish we did have clarification because as a consumer it's it sucks for us because then like we're waiting for a company that developed this game to like put out content and then all we get is just you know a new skin, a new costume when you know we want like maybe a new expansion. But also on the other side of things, you know, like with Larian Studios, which you know this which sparked this conversation of them deciding not to do DLC for Baldur's Gate. It doesn't mean they're not continuing their free updates, which add actually free content to the game. Um, they're just not working on a DLC that expands any part of the story, the existing story within the game. And from what I hear, I don't know if
And
you
it won't
guys,
cost additional money. That's what
yeah,
downloadable. That's the string attached behind downloadable content. Like you, it's a very specific word set from Larian because free content update was not included in there. They can do that
yeah,
forever, infinitum. Like they can
yeah,
literally free content like, and that can be whatever the fuck they want it to be.
mm-hmm.
But it won't cost you the player any money because it's not downloadable content.
Downloadable content, right? But and like the fact that that terminology is being thrown around so much, it's like, damn, like we don't know what is DLC anymore, right? Like, for all I know, this could have been like in the game already, already. But with Larian Studios, my point was, it's that I think it would on the other side of it, the development side. Larian, I believe this either the CEO Sam Venk or Sven Venk or one of the higher up positions. They said yes, yeah, Sven Venk. He said he decided to pull the plug on it because they were working on it. They were working on DLC for the game, but he's like, I studied my employees and none of them looked happy. And then I called a meeting. I said we're scrapping it. And then he's like I was nervous because I thought people were gonna get mad. The amount of relief he saw on people's faces was enough to justify his decision and scrapping it because they're like thank that every like multiple people who worked for him came up to him. He's like, thank God I did not want to do that. And which again, I think this is why I fucking love Larian is because they care. They really care about games and they care about giving you a quality product. And if their heart is not in it, they know it's going to be shit if they give it to you. So, um, so I applaud Larian for that. Also, they had an issue. The people at Larian are really like pro like gaming industry. Like they really keep their eyes and ears in there because you know it affects them. They had a thing. It's basically Hasbro, which owns Wizards of the Coast, which owns like the D&D, like 5e, like whole thing. So like Hasbro laid off every single employee at Wizards of the Coast that help Larian get that IP to collab to make Baldur's Gate 3. They were a part of the layoffs, and I believe this isn't like the main reason they stopped doing the DLC, but this is part of the reason they probably did not want to continue working with Hasbro, in good faith because of how they treated their fellow colleagues within the gaming space. So that's also a reason why. Which is good because they're like a lot of games will just shell out DLC just because the executives were like, we need to rake in money for this IP again.
Literally.
Activision, EA.
Well, dude,
Yeah.
fucking goddamn. Well, even like Redfall. Redfall is such a good example of why you should never pre-order DLC. There are people that spent the $100
God bless their soul.
to buy the Bite Back edition that offered an expansion and new characters and have received nothing for over a fucking year.
Do they get refunds? Have they gotten a refund for that or no?
No, because the content's still
Crazy.
supposedly promised.
Oh man, when it actually arrives, it's going to be so disappointing for
Yeah,
those people.
yeah. I would say the only DLC I am looking forward to right at this moment, or expansion, would, again, I like Starfield. It unfortunately is a game that is very slow, and it doesn't really pick up until about 15 to 20 hours, depending on how you play the game. But I am really looking forward to the expansion for that game, because that is
That'll
supposed to
be
be
Air
coming
Tree.
out with a bunch of new stuff. I still haven't beaten Elden Ring, so there's still a lot of game for me to play there.
Fair.
I did pick it up a few months ago, and I got pretty good at it. I'm sure you guys remember that. I was like, oh, I'm actually killing bosses. But Ernell, I want to move on to you. Do you have any thoughts on this?
I'm gonna slightly play devil's advocate here. And I know that that's a hot take. The reason why is because not that I support the egregious DLC practices, I guess we can say they are, that has come of the games industry. I very, very, very much understand the reason why it has come to be. It is a good business practice, long term. I mean, like, realistically speaking, if you so for the reason, okay, this conversation brought me back to an interview that the old CEO of EA had, where he talked about how the games industry moving forward, looking into the way that DLCs work and the way that microtransactions function. He talked about it comparatively to that the business structure behind it is just genius in and of itself. Because if you're playing Battlefield for 6 hours and suddenly your clip is empty and a big window pops up and says, hey, for $1, we'll reload your clip. Well, you don't really have enough cards to bet against that. You've already paid for the game. You're already in it. You're not going to have any other choice but to pay for that because you're invested in the game. And that leads to my secondary point here, the devil's advocate part. It is our fault as gamers that this has happened.
100%.
Because
100%.
and I know
and it's our fault as gamers that it will continue. The trend will never end. We've actually just made it worse, which is why we have the live service format that we've evolved into now.
Yeah.
That's because that's all the DLC really is. It's just the live service format stretched over a monthly basis so they could drip feed people. And rather than charging you, that $30 up front, it's $10 here, $10 here, $10 here. And that's a lot more palatable for the consumer than a $30 to $40 expansion pass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because if you asked me this 10 years ago, I would have said, no, DLCs are tight. DLCs are super sick. Because back then, DLCs were the only thing keeping us from paying $90 for a game out the gate. Because if you think about what that additional 15 to 30 hours of content does to the market price of a video game on shelf, that astronomically increases the price of that game. But when you instead drip feed that content and do it in little bursts of, you know, things that can be paid for later on when people have a chance to actually refill their finances, and, you know, oh well, it's I already paid 70. Well, I didn't have 70 6 months ago, but I do have 30 now, so why not buy that? And so like back then that was deemable. Now obviously things have changed. We're looking at a much more slippery slope now that we're already halfway down the fucking slope, because we're much deeper with microtransactions, generally speaking, battle passes, season passes, DLCs, expansions that are half the size of what expansions used to be, and then if that's literally all just to access those things sooner than the next man. And I hope we realize that as video game fans here, that literally you are paying as much as you are for video games, for DLCs, for content within that game, so that you can access them sooner than the person next to you. That's the only reason, because we see this with Game of the Year editions.
Mm-hmm.
Because
there's
Game
a
of the
reason
Year,
those come out at market price 3 to 4 years later.
Mhm.
Because if you were to get a Game of the Year edition, as Ernell just mentioned, a year after that game release, that Game of the Year edition is going to be $90 fucking on shelf. It's going to be $100 edition.
Right. But
Because
instead,
everybody else the year before just spent $40.
Right.
So of course they're going to expect you to do the same damn thing.
Right.
But if you had the patience to wait 3 to 4 years to pick it up, that's when you get the discount. But only after you put in the patience to wait to access that.
Only after you've allowed yourself to no longer be in the conversation. And that's the price that we pay as gamers. And that's literally all it is. And I mean, like, and I hate to be the person like bog this down because fuck those pieces of shit that are making us spend so much money. But realistically speaking, yes, fuck those companies for doing what they're doing and overplaying their hand, being overzealous about the stuff. But at the same time, we have to look at ourselves as consumers and understand what we are doing to allow them the option to continuously do this to us. Because like if we've seen what happens if we're all in agreement and we all are on the same page, because we literally had an entire Sonic the Hedgehog movie remade because we all were on the same fucking page.
Yeah.
That's
the one time the power of the internet was used for good.
Yes, but we're not all on the same page. Because even though there's 4 of us, they're saying like, Jesus Christ, these DLCs are fucking crazy. If the right DLC comes out, I promise you all 4 of us are buying it.
I'm literally going to buy Shadow of the Air Tree. I don't even know how much the DLC costs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. I had
It's
already planned to buy it.
I think it's $50.
Yeah, dude, I had already personally planned to buy it before a price was even given to me. I understand that I'm part of the problem.
No, for sure. And I don't like that's less for us here at the table and more for the people at home to understand that, like, I 100% it's fucking gross, egregious, and disgusting, and I wish companies didn't do it. But we as consumers need to take a fucking second, right? And just say, this is our fault too. Because we just watched a whole section of the fucking internet shit their pants about microtransactions and Dragon's Dogma 2, a game that is more than likely going to end up being Game of the Year 2024. Okay, more than fucking likely. They all shit their fucking pants about it. Whose fault is that? It's not Capcom's. It's not Capcom's, because Capcom's been doing this for a decade. And nobody fucking said anything then. Well, obviously that means it's our fucking fault, because the only people that are either thinking that those microtransactions are bad, inherently bad, are the ones that are not actually playing the fucking game. They're just the vocal minority that are like, oh, microtransactions of any kind are fucking bad. Well, you know, you're in the midst of a fucking business industry here. You need to understand that you share that responsibility as well. Or they're the ones that did buy it and are just wanting to get their fucking share of the hype pie on the fucking internet, because they want to be a part of the discourse as well that's happening, and then get all their follows and likes and all this other bullshit. It's messy, man.
It's crazy, dude. And it was so funny. One of the points was someone said, "Yo, you can get all the stuff in the game," and that person said, the person replied back, they're like, "But it takes over 2 hours, and 2 hours is the window to refund the game." So,
Just
apparently, if you
insane,
can't
dude.
obtain
That's a bullshit unit of measurement. That's a bullshit unit of
if you
measurement.
can't obtain the item that you desired within the 2 hour refund period, apparently that is predatory microtransaction.
Yeah,
Yeah,
predatory
Which I thi-
microtransactions and pay to win is gonna. I have a feeling that's gonna be a big buzzword this year because people did the same shit with Helldivers 2's War Bonds. I'm
Yeah,
like,
and then
what
and
the
then
fuck
whole
are you guys
community
talking
was
about?
like,
I have like
I could literally get
$50
this.
worth of fucking super credits right now.
Yeah, dude.
I don't, but that's because I spend them constantly. I was like, oh, new piece of armor. I don't have it yet. Let me do it.
I know. Your
I
hand
do
was up,
want to
Devin. Yeah,
end.
go ahead.
I do want to end this conversation here on. I think the most egregious DLC and expansion, season pass, whatever have you, is the type that sunset, and the worst company that does that is 100% Bungie. That is a game I used to adore. That is a game I used to play the shit out of. It's if you try to play that game without having the season pass, even like just their seasonal content, you're locked out of story content that they try to hook you in by giving you the first mission for free, right? You're locked out of weapons, you're locked out of different
Both dealers
sparrows.
do that.
And here's the thing, you have to buy the expansion, and then you also have to buy the season pass at the same time, while they also get rid of all the old content that you as a consumer and as a player have already paid for. You can't even play the base game of Destiny that you paid money for. You can't even play the first two expansions that you paid money for. That's gone. That is probably one of the worst things that we have, and that opens up a whole other conversation about digital preservation for video games, right?
Yeah.
But I just want to say DLC can be a good and a bad thing. It's just it kind of just falls into your lap on whether how you want to vote with your wallet, right? Like, what are you going to pay for? What are you going to enjoy? What do you think is going to benefit the community at large? And that's really up to us as players and us as industry folk and all that. It's really up to us. This doesn't mean going out and review bombing video games or anything like that. It's more so about being present and
Proud
on social spaces, and proud about yourself as a person. Join that Proud gang, and then if you don't like something, do it that way. Don't pitchfork, don't lead torches, don't do that, because really that just makes you look like a gross person, right? Be honest with yourself and be honest with everybody around you. With that being said, support good studios that do good things, and don't make them look bad just because you want to.
Can I give an example of a good set of DLCs? The Witcher 3. All the DLC for The Witcher 3
DLCs.
was impeccable. Just expansions, pretty much.
Bethesda does great with theirs. CD Projekt Red does great with it. I can say that firsthand. I've been playing Phantom Liberty, and I fucking love it. It's great. But guys,
Software usually does pretty good with their expansions and DLCs as well.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Prepare to die DLC, dude.
Yeah, good companies to support. Guys, please let us know what you feel about DLC and expansions. You can always come over to our Discord and be a part of the conversation there. If there's anything that we did not bring up, you can put it there in our Discord. With that being said, we're going to go over our schedule for the rest of the week. This Thursday, no content, no splash damage. We are seeing Godzilla and Kong.
Fuck yeah, we are.
Hell fuck yes.
The new Empire.
Goddamn,
it's going to be
let's go.
Yeah, with that being said, we're going to be reviewing that movie there on Friday on 20,000 Films. And that will be a spoiler-free review. And boy, am I ready to get to that conversation already. Guys, this has been Good Kraken's Death Ratio, your choice for all the nerdy video game news, reviews, and discussions that you want to hear live each and every Tuesday at 7 p.m. West Coast time, 10 p.m. East Coast time. If you liked what you heard, you can head on over to our Discord channel where you can submit questions and topics to the show, get exclusive content, and have early access to episodes before they go live on podcast and video services wherever you like to watch or listen. But you can also support us by going to our YouTube channel, clicking that beautiful bell and big red button, or by subscribing to our podcast channel by searching Death Ratio and leaving a review there. We have to go, but until next time, Garrick beaten.